Yeah, it's building that culture, right? Team culture, so important, something we speak at length about. And to touch on Eternal Fire here as well, which is really important, heading into Agent Selectors, the map is going to be Abyss, Cairo. Brave was talking in that interview that we had on the pre-record as well that he's played these tier 1 teams before. He was part of the old BBL, the Turkish BBL, as they've gone back to that for 2026. How are we feeling about their chances in this game? Because there are lots of experienced players on this side of the server.
Yeah, there is, and this is by no means an easy task for Vitality, because straight away you'd come in and it's like Vitality versus Eternal Fire, a team who hasn't been in, but has never been to Tier 1. There is some players there with that experience, right? So do not be mistaken. And already a few interesting factors being brought out by Vitality, and the fact that they've got the veto in the server.
Yeah, it's going to be one of the first times that we get to see a Tier 1 team playing Veto. We know that the coaching staff on Vitality, Pal and Scott, were known for innovating compositionally. We saw it with their Pearl on BBL in Kickoff last year. Yeah. We saw bad examples of that with their Icebox as well. I think we all remember Profek on the Clove. But we'll have to see how exactly this looks. In terms of players to watch, we've already spoken about Sayonara. Really quickly for me, on the Eternal Fire side, Spear. This guy looked really good, only 18 years old. He was playing for Supermassive during the year, but has just signed to Eternal Fire for next year. He's probably going to be my one to watch here for the Turks as we head in. The barriers drop, and this new roster for Vitality begins its debut.
Yeah, with trying to encroach through mid, where 3 players of Eternal Fire lie in wait, but the end goal is towards the B site where the Cypher has the setup. All 5 players getting through without any casualties, leaves Spear in a difficult position with next to no support.
He said that Starlet may very soon be into trouble, and that's what we're going to get here. Good early damage onto Durka, but Kron links up with his now teammate again. Closes the gap and finds 2. Plenty of damage on these Vitality players, and Profet's going to take on even more.
It's getting more difficult, and there's still shots in play, but 3 strong, healthy players ready to come back in, and Sterpin's in the back lines.
Late play here from the most senior player on the Eternal Fire side. Makes a bit of a mess of the fight on Durka, but will drop him regardless, leaving just Yampy in the 1 versus 3, the new in-game leader. While he'll find 1, that's all he walks away with. Pissed around in the retake for Eternal Fire.
Yeah, something that the Turkish sides have always been good at is playing in the online environment, and they do it once again in this pistol round. Vitality struggling with the B site take, and the trade's not as convincing as what they would be. But overall, you can see the ideas of how Vitality want to play. Chronicle a lot more aggressive, and just not considering that flank coming through.
Chronicle signing, of course, one of the reasons why Vitality have been made villains, perhaps, by many, the way that the saga played itself out. But I think not just him joining this team is a statement in itself, but the fact that he's willing to be playing Sentinel rather than flexing as he was on Fnatic. It just shows the faith that he has in the system. Recently as well, just talking about his belief in the coaching staff and what it is that they're trying to build here, as this round is just the eco, and already the first casualty taken.
Yeah, it seems like Vitality have put priority on ultimate orbs at the minute. They took the B main space, which is easily cleared by an info dart, and you can see Kron already clearing the space out for the rest of the supporting cast. Only 1 player on the E site as well, so could find themselves in a position to plant.
Yeah, chance to overwhelm here. It is just a stinger on Brave too, so he's going to struggle to find more than 1, but doesn't even get a chance. Profek finds him through the smoke. And now it's only Sturban here. The Bulldog is a better effort, but not enough to stop the spike from going in.
Yeah, and Sayonara is able to get the Bulldog up and ready to go, but Sturban begins to knock them all down. And in the end, it is a formality. I don't think Profit will get much done with the Classic. A headshot makes me doubt what I said, but overall, it will end up 2-0 to Eternal Fire.
Yeah, Yeah, Profek, one of the best rookies that we had in EMEA last year. A sour note with things ending on BBL in the top 3 rather than making it to champs as they would have hoped, but joining alongside Yampi and Pal means that it's a system which he already knows. Seeing a lot more of him on Astra, I think, is going to be interesting. Mechanically, very taxing agent. And in general, to talk about the comps a little bit before we head into the first rifle round, Eternal Fire going for something very standard here. I'm surprised we're not maybe getting some Teho out of them where we've seen it in the past.
I'm not so surprised, you know, like going up against like a team like Vitality. You want to have the mechanics ready to go. And in through mid, that's exactly the case. As we see that it is Eternal Fire who takes most of the damage after the brawl. But look at Profek on the B site, how he's scaling up so quickly and finding so much space.
Yeah, already past the spy cam, so the question is, will he get checked? Certainly not by Skylan. And now the info's there. Spear out on an island in mid, punished by Kron. And so Vitality have an open pathway to the B site, but Sturban in transition could look to maybe try and catch a player here.
I think
He's get the timing on Kron.
Yeah, I think this opportunity is perfect. And Kron's taking the dangerous path round, but instead Sturban prioritising picking up a rifle. And that spike will go down easy enough.
Yeah, upgrades to the Vandal from the Bulldog. Now the 2 versus 1. Profek on an aggressive line. The question is, can he hold it?
You'd assume so. You can see Sturban trying to clear the angles and successful. So it goes to 1 versus 1. Up against Kron. And he's worried about the heaven angle and is able to escape. Time ticking away. Sturban unaware, trying to clear everything. Every nook and cranny. Careful, but it's in main where the danger lies. Finally sees where Kron is, gets the stars down. The stun not working out. The shot's not firing. A time ticking away, but Kron low and puts 6 foot under. Eternal Fire are yet to lose a round.
It's a huge win on the bonus for Eternal Fire, keeping the flames piling high as Sturban had a really nice use of the recall there. It looked for a moment like he was panicked with his placement of the Astra utility, but managed to work it out in his favor in the end. This was a nice proactive move to start things off, but Kron showing why Vitality put such a high priority in bringing him into the side through his ability. Not just that, you know the trophies that come behind it, but the clutch is just not capable here. And so it's a huge pickup for Eternal Fire.
Well, right now it feels like Vitality are a sleeping giant, still getting to grips. The first official that we've seen of this roster. The French side have been bonused, leaving their economy in a bad state as they look to try and hit in towards A once more, but the delay is good.
Yeah, 4 players caught by the knife. One of them, Durka. And I think it's important to talk about him in these rounds as well. This year, of course, being the first year that we've seen him without an appearance at Champions after having the highest ACS in Seoul. And it's Sayonara that's going to drop first here. But the point I'm trying to open up is we need to see him get active in some of these first duels, right? He's the one player that's stayed in Vitality from the previous roster. By a flash here in A main, and all of a sudden this eco round feels very split up, very segregated, and you're really struggling to see where they find value.
Yeah, with the spike down on the ground, this operator you have to try and peek into with no flashes. It doesn't hit out. The rest of the players aren't there to try and fight.
What?
Izzy will take Dirk clean out, so Profek still wants to challenge this with his sheriff.
Yeah, Durka got sent flying, man. Poor guy, but is he on the line with an op? Is this a recall? Yes, but Profek still can't find the shots despite the fact that Izzy missed his. 4 uncontested for Eternal Fire, the perfect start for the challenger's side, who will be looking to try and pick up a bounty here.
Yeah, they're looking like it's a possibility. I was hoping that Vitality would come in and kind of set the standard for the year, right? But straight away we are seeing the worrying signs of the start of the off-season. It is the off-season after all.
Yeah.
But that operator from Izzy looked very good in the last round.
I think it's also important to mention we've not really seen Vitality participate in many off-season events before, so having them here at Blender is already a sign of change, perhaps. Get to see whether that's a positive or a negative one, perhaps, and what the progression really is. But as you say, Izzy has an op in play. It's yet to be cleared by the drone, and now has the line control, which he's not going to make the most of.
Hunter's Fury not finding much value either. There's a lot of utility is sent in. Sayonara missing out against Izzy. And the hip fire working out. But it's Prophet that fills the kill feed red and gets 3 of his own. Traded out even, and a 2 versus 2 through mid though is an issue that Vitality have to try and deal with.
Yeah, Chronicle caught sleeping on the mid walk there, but Prophet's heroics has been enough to put them in a 2-on-2.
Top of the spike.
With the op, looks for the shot, but the spike's still not in.
Yeah, they still want to fight. Still want to keep going. Yampi now committed to it, but Jerka on the line will find what he's looking for. Leaving Skyland with a tough ask. Up against Jerka, up against Yampi, and just escapes the scan. So an opportunity to lean round the corner, try and find something, but Jerka will get Vitality their first round.
Positive signs there for Vitality as well. Like I said, Durka starting to get on the board and find impact. A real driving force behind this team. Izzy, when the fight arrives at his doorstep, he walks forward, he greets it with open arms. It's a ridiculous first shot, but Prophet full punish on the follow-up. This has been a very chaotic start to the match so far between the two teams, but now Vitality are on the board, and with that op recollected, we'll see if they can set the tempo.
As a money drain, that's the other aspect to this, and it seems like they're trying to bait out the fact that the operator is here, but Vitality not interested that much.
Yeah, I like this use of the interceptor as well from Kron. Sometimes on the attack side, Vito can feel a little underwhelming. But there, it's just to stop exactly what you're about to see Brave do. Send a pop flash in. Just waiting for the right time to make this proactive play. Only Kron to receive as it stands, but it looks like the rest of Vitality will soon be joining him.
Yeah, creating a little bit of mid-pressure, and that's something that Eternal Fire will need to clear. But 3 bodies strong, you know that Eternal Fire are ready for this push coming through. The pop flash doesn't work out. It's Izzy, in fact, who gets flashed instead. So, a gap, an opportunity for Vitality. They'll pick up the orb, and this could be the go button for Eternal Fire to try and peek out and fight. But instead it goes the other way, as Vitality take advantage and Sterben stuck in the corner. The site taken and Spike can go down.
Durka still prowling on this front line though. Still a problem, edge of the Nebula. He's going to be able to get away with some information in tow. Still Kron also trying to push that perimeter as far back as possible.
Oh, the timing not great though. Durka using the utility at the wrong point. So this is a chance to get through an opening that has been left for Vitality. Kron above will take out one, and Yampi holding on to the operator gets his opposite Sova. So the gap reduced to 2.
Yeah, Vitality starting to put measures in place now. You can see Sayonara was good there for the opening pick, past the operator. I would like to have seen Eternal Fire just gamble on that timing a little bit more and go for the aggressive play rather than recoiling and waiting for some kind of contact to be hit. The Astra utility and the missed flash also made things a little bit awkward for them, and you see that now reflected in the buy as well, pushed onto weaker weaponry. Izzy's Bulldog still good for the opening pick besides Skyland.
But it's Sayonara who continues to scale up, and there's not a lot. That info dart not hitting where it needs to. So Sayonara still needs to be wary. Oh, but look at Izzy, so far up, able to try and grab Yampi, does so. Prophet not there for the trade, a bit late, and at the end, Eternal Fire coming out on top, that spike lowered, Chronicle not checking backside, a lot of liberties being taken by Vitality at the minute, and Sayonara spotted as well.
Yeah, Prophet having to expose himself there. Leave Sayonara 1 versus 3, has ult to collect the spike and almost a full utility belt here.
Well, this would be one way to announce yourself onto the scene. I mean, Sayonara's done that in previous games in Tier 2, but this is all about the next level, right? The upper section of Tier 2, and unfortunately for him, he will not be able to do a thrifty round for Eternal Fire to answer straight back.
Yeah, it's back-to-back off-seasons, in fact, where we see Sayonara on a VCT roster. He was subbing in for Fnatic just a year ago, but this is him making the big jump up, having his big break after breaking out on the scene originally, just 16 with KPI. And as you can see here, Eternal Fire winning a thrifty round and forcing Pal to take his first official timeout as the head coach of this project.
Yeah, and I think, to be fair, there's been a lot of lessons learned very early on in the official environment. You know, we've seen, I guess, from the VCT scrims account, right, how scrims have been going for Vitality, and they'll be talking about what is actually going wrong. Because as I spoke about in that last round, Hazza, there was a little bit of liberties being taken by Vitality, maybe a little bit of overconfidence.
Potentially. I think, yeah, definitely spread themselves thin in terms of the engagements that they were looking for. And not much of that supported by utility either, other than Yampi getting caught in his drone with Profek, former teammate from last year, of course. And that's where you're kind of wondering, where does the synergy start to arrive, and where's it going to come from? Is it between Profek and Yampi? Do we have that history still between Kron and Durka and their time on Fnatic? And what is the identity of this team, really? Because the Vito pick, of course, is already a deviation from what we've seen with the new agent. And now here, it's just looking like an early test on B as Spear deals with the drone, but holds on to the rest of his Cypher setup.
Again, that same setup that we've been seeing on A from Eternal Fire, with the Astra, Jet and KO all set up, hoping that the Cypher can hold to be alone. Vitality continue to try and work the map, try and work their way through. Kron not able to capitalise on a kill, but does hold on to that A main space, but dropping off further and further.
You can see now Vitality getting ready to group up for their B execution. Eternal Fire have been pretty strong towards this side of the map so far. And Spear is supported by Skyland this time. Another new entry into the Eternal Fire lineup. But that duo of debutantes, another one in the server to be worried about. It's Chronicle. He's not going to quite claim the second kill through middle, but the damage is done and the spike goes in.
Yeah, being able to, unable to get that last kill because of ammo, but look at the setup and the time that Vitality have had here.
Oh, Sayonara trying to disrespect the Cosmic Divide. So Eternal Fire will invest one of their own. All hands on deck, and the bodies for Vitality now finding themselves on the other side of the screen. Yampi and Durka combining. The Finns finding the kills and making it a 2-on-2. Izzy is low, but up top looking for impact. Spike still yet to be worked on. And with this first half stick starting to come in, it's just the open air where Profek's going to find the final 2 kills. A very quick adjustment from the pole to bring Vitality back into the game.
Yeah, and I think that Profek's a player that we should be talking about as well, because for a lot of people, everyone's looking at the likes of Chronicle and Durka joining back up again, you know, but the fact that Sayonara is getting to come into the server on the team, and then with Yampi joining up with Durka, like the two Finns together, I felt as if Profek's kind of being left to the wayside, right? Feels as if he's just an addition, or a late added addition. But this guy has real quality. Well, it felt when he was playing well, BBL were playing well, and Sayonara able to get a pick in main, but loses control of A.
Yeah, like you say, the real workhorse behind the BBL team last year, and a key component of Vitality here. They'd look completely different without him, as that's now his 10th kill picked up already in the opening 8 rounds. Skyland still holding things down though, and Durka forced to use the light speed to claim the spike. But look at Izzy, he's already here. And in finding the next, Eternal Fire have all the players in the right place, sending them up to a 6th.
Guaranteed at least even on the half, and the ultimates start to come into play once again as we head towards the latter stage of this first half. And I wonder, has since the Abyss changes, do you think there's been anything in terms of bias side, oh my god, side bias changes on this map specifically?
It's almost impossible to say. Like, typically, it really just depends on composition, and I don't think we've seen too much of the veto yet, but the way you want to play this agent is, to, like, hold the sites as much as possible. It's a little difficult to scale, but it basically gives you more options for post-plant. I think it favors attackers more, honestly, just because there's better cover on the site and ways to play it. But as a defender, it really depends how good your retakes are and how good your defensive protocols look. And for Eternal Fire right now, they are making the most of the extra ground that they're able to keep, I think.
And Vitality looking to continuously use the full clock available to them as well, as they look to work the map, find little pressure points that they can work with. There is 2 rifles in the mix here for Vitality, as they use the drone to try and fake out towards B.
Yes, the spike on the back of Yumpy here as well. Kron does give away a little bit of information in A main to the flash drive that was being used, and as the spike continues to posture on this left-hand side, it feels like Vitality have intentions on the B site which are left unanswered. Durka diving into A, but quickly refracting out, and that has brought a slight rotation. You can see Izzy drifting over, and even Skyland moving back towards spawn.
Yeah, it seems as if Eternal Fire have bought this hook, line and sinker. Spear giving away his position, but that info dart confirms that the site is mostly clear. Derka catching Izzy on rotation. This looks like Vitality to be in prime spot, but losing one of those rifles will not make anything easier. What a shot from Spear. The numbers beginning to dwindle. It's getting harder and harder for the attack as the Turks make their way in. They're looking to try and clear out everything. It's just Profik at the back of sight with a rifle in hand, trying to hold on, but hold on no more. Eternal Fire confirm an advantage into the next half.
Eternal Fire looking fantastic so far on the defender's side, having really effective trades off of one another. It wasn't the best of buys from Vitality. They'll have a rifle into the next, but a missed opportunity, I think, with how they are able to pull rotations and find their way onto the B site. Yumpy really impressed me as a rookie in-game leader in the previous year. First year that he actually gets a project fully at his disposal. And now on Vitality, it's a big ask for him to lead, but absolutely looking up to the task so far. Saving his Hunter's Fury with some of these other ultimates to use. Kron is going to evolve early and just eat all of that utility.
Yeah, nothing affecting him, and now that push, all the utility wasted, that won't come back. You've got to remember the space that we're in now in terms of the game, the fact that those regeneratives won't come back for at least another 60 seconds. So if Eternal Fire find themselves at a disadvantage in terms of the information economy, especially with burning this L drone early.
Yeah, it has applied some pressure towards the A site, with Chronicle still being in A main, but all of this is just a fake, or so you'd think. Vitality doubling back on themselves here. Kron, a very vocal player, and the kind of voice that Vitality were maybe missing last year, leading them all together here to take the site. It will be a 5 versus 2 on spot.
Yeah, but Brave looking to play within the smoke is back to where the players will enter in and no one clears out. He gets his opportunity but quickly traded out. Sayonara doing well here, but they haven't cleared Sterben, and that's the issue! Once activated, 2 in the bag, leaving this a 3 versus 2 in favour of Eternal Fire.
Yeah, we saw the Hunter's Fury used by Yumpy. No post-plant tools here for Vitality. They've got to be searching for an early pick, and with the gate crash placed, it's Sayonara on the hunt.
The young gun, the player who looks to light up the server later in the year but could do it now in the off-season. That gate crash gonna expire very quickly. Yumpy there to help out his prodigy, but in the end it's up to him all alone. Skyland low, the opposite Sova will win out. Yumpy will get the 4th for Vitality.
Last round before the switch.
The captain standing up and being counted. a crucial clutch for Vitality's chances in this one, as Eternal Fire have looked very strong so far. This was brilliant from Sturban. Fantastic trigger discipline, and had he not been hit by the Sovereign, probably would have found the third one onto Sayonara there as well, who was looking the opposite direction. The question is, can they reduce that gap to 2? Because it's on the defender's side, really, that this comp should excel.
Plenty of utility and ultimates in here as the Sayonara identifies where the player is at the back of sight, comes in at the right timing, well, is able to get out. So Vitality happy with what they've got and no longer committing to the A site.
Yeah, there's a flank coming in here from Izzy. He's going to be very quickly activating behind Vitality. 2 members in mid, 3 towards main. But yet to press execution, and there is the info from Izzy. Finds the back of Profect. That's the smoke and the extra util gone.
Feels like Vitality are trying to play a very layered approach to their attack. Yampy not considered, and look at him so deep in insert as the rest of the players on Vitality try to clear out exactly where this jet is gone, but he finds Yampy and his head clean off. Eternal Fire trying to support from the door, but it won't work. 3v3, 35 seconds remain.
Oh, and a quick trade through middle. Spike still heading towards B, but Sayo left in mid and he'll drop as well.
So it's up to Kron. Arguably one of, or if not the most experienced in the server. Certainly the most winningest player that we have ever seen in Valorant's history. 3 international trophies to his head, and now he's going to get 3 kills in the server that brings him within 2 against Eternal Fire.
Yeah, Vitality very much needed that last round, because when you look at it on the face, they're running double duelist, right? With Astra, solo initiator. The attack side has to be good, but you saw how much Izzy was able to punish the gaps that we saw here with the chokehold only being able to have sort of limited coverage, the defaults that they've been running, quite loose as well, I think it's fair to say. And also Izzy being a player who was top 3 with Levin and Zeus in Turkey just a year ago, but for whatever reason not held in that same regard. This is a huge opportunity for him to prove exactly how good he is, and he's already taken that up. Vitality building momentum as the half goes on. Now into the next pistol.
Well, Sayo has been hit by the info dart, so the players are way up. But we're looking at Kron and Yampy to really support him and allow him in his endeavour to hold on towards mid. An info dart even coming out, which is precious in this game now. And well, as he peeks out, Sayo gets caught out. So advantage towards the attack.
Vitality very quickly stationing 2 players towards this position though. Kron has peeled off of the B site. But with the map changes to Abyss as well, this link position now is so strong to freely rotate between the 2. And having won that battle, Eternal Fire in a pretty strong position 5v4. There is damage on these players. They actually want to regroup and go towards A. Yampy mid-rounding, something he's been really good at doing. Huge opportunity here.
Looks to knock them all down. Yampy! A 3k to rescue Vitality from the jaws of disadvantage. Puts them firmly in advantage, and Derka and Profect holding on towards A. A lot of 2 players from mid are on the hunt. This is a crunch, and Eternal Fire are on the cusp of losing. Profect, the pull is good, but he can't capitalise, can't find the kill. Which means Spear, with time so low, needs to get that spike down, committed to it. Yampy's 4k gives the pistol to Vitality.
Yeah, it was a great start from Eternal Fire, winning that fight in middle. But then Yampy starting to show you the reasons why he was such a good in-game leader for BBL last year. It's a solo mission, and one which is won out purely through mechanics, but just gaining a little bit of extra info when Vitality were short-strung there is so huge, and finishing it off with a flank brings them within 1. A chance to draw things up nice and early here on the defense.
Seems as if Eternal Fire have decided to give Vitality the chance to make the first move in this round, as all really they've done is break the door in towards mid, but overall, Vitality don't blink, they hold position.
Yeah, and while we have a moment to talk a little bit more about Eternal Fire and what their rebuild's going to look like for next year as well as they're on the eco, they've tried around with a few different players. It was Cider X, the in-game leader for them before. They've looked to have moved to Skyland now instead. Maybe one of the reasons why they've gone off of the Teho, as his calling was at its highest peak at the start of the year when that meta was around, and with the changes to the initiators, maybe not what they're opting for here. The in-game leader has opened things up. Vitality have numbers on site ready to deal with this. So 3 for Sayonara, 1 for Durka there as well, and the scoreline tied. But Cairo, yeah, I got to ask, how are you feeling about Eternal Fire for next year?
Do you know what? I think, like, for me, I've always been really impressed by Izzy's game. And, I mean, so far, they're taking the fight to Vitality. They look very strong mechanically, as they always do. But I always fear, like, as we've already kind of discussed, is that with Eternal Fire, they always find themselves in this position where... I don't want to say they were behind the meta because they picked up the tail pretty early on, but overall, like they just fell off towards the year, and that kind of is the description for the region of Turkey as a whole. It can be very explosive, but Eternal Fire weren't even a team that were kind of stripped from Tier 1. They just fell away from the limelight.
That's very true. I think with it being such a huge organization in Turkey, though, it's very much a sleeping giant in the same way that we would say Vitality are. And one of those players is, of course, Sturban. He's just had his barrel spotted there. Sayonara has walked down the length of B long. And now is nestled in between Spear, who finds that one in middle, and this awkward duel, but Eternal Fire win every single one of them. This slow look from them has proved to be well worth it.
Durka, well, I was going to say, looks to try and challenge the A site himself, but instead we look towards Kron in a 1 versus 5 and identified through this cipher wire. You'd imagine that this is pretty much a formality at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And to sort of follow along from the conversation that we were having, as Eternal Fire will be retaking the lead here. You know, you've got players like Brave in there as well, which do give you that extra experience from his 2 years on BBL. Now also moving roles to Smoke, from Initiate, oh my god, to Initiator from Smokes, I should say, as they brought Sturban in. And as I was setting up there as well, he's got former teammates, which include Sociable, Yetaje, Woot. Like, they come from this really rich background. It's just about whether they're able to go pound for pound with some of this next generation that we've seen. But I guess with both Ulf and BBL Pacific, now just Pacific in VCT, yeah, maybe that makes things a little easier for them next year. Who knows?
I mean, that is the question, right? I mean, Eternal Fire, they've got a long way to go. And as an organisation, right, we've spoken a lot about the players, but as an organisation is one that finds a lot of success in esports. You know, it is a big name, not just within Turkey, but within like the general esports system as a whole.
So we are into the first rifle round of the second half, with Eternal Fire leading 8-7 right now. And having profited from this slow rolling default, again they start to creep into this mid control which has suited them. Skyland has been spotted amongst others. And the reaction from Vitality is to send Sayonara towards A. This proactivity starting to take place in main, and Spear's got to be careful.
Next under fire, did tap the cam there, but now he's taken some damage and forced back, respecting what Vitality have done there. But with Izzy so deep in mid, the question is where do we go? Eternal Fire, that spike has to go down and a decision to be made very soon, and it seems like it will be A.
Yeah, not opting to deposit Izzy in mid after collecting all of that space. So Vitality have gone and cleared it back out themselves through Durka. It's going to be 4 bodies stacked on the B site, leaving only Profek here to defend A.
So Profek up high, hiding within his smoke as Eternal Fire look to try and get their way through, but Sayonara has walked out too deep. The Phantom Spray of Profek doesn't quite work out. He's only able to net 1. So Durka up on high, trying to find an angle but being denied it. Eternal Fire doing well to hold on to this site so far, but that utility will eventually run out, and that's the opportunity for Vitality to come through and bite, which they do hard. Yampy, the only player who has a full lease of life, full health. Chronicle looking to try and play trade from behind, but it will not work out as a 1-2-3 Eternal Fire will double their advantage.
Eternal Fire slowly taking it step by step towards the finish line. It is just a best of 1 here. And so the first outing for this new Vitality super team, or so they'd say, may just end in defeat. I have to say, the post plant was pretty well worked. Some good trades and a crossfire set up deep towards security was nice. Vitality seemed to think that it was a B execution late on. Sayonara had the TP to join Profek, but those efforts ended in vain. So, up against the mixed investment, Durka's Guardian is going to start off by picking up Izzy.
It's a great entry because Izzy really feels like the playmaker, you know, the player who goes, like, he obviously as a duelist you expect him to take space, but so confident, and it feels like the system sometimes can be wholly built around the Jet player.
It's the thing about a lot of teams at that level, sometimes solely reliant on a hero, but this Eternal Fire team feels well-rounded. You can say the same for Vitality and how Profek has been performing so far. He's still sat outside of A, just waiting to reclaim a weapon, get an upgrade. You've only got Kron here on B with this Marshall, and I'm just wondering when he's going to get spotted. Not until he finds Sturban, so the smoker dropped.
I mean, the big thing for Vitality is if they can do a little bit of delay here, right, be able to get the players into position, that would be brilliant, but doesn't work out. The players finally come in. Advantage for Vitality coming back in, and on top of that, they have convergent paths.
Yeah, it's a huge shock dart from Yampy as well to put Skyland down to 5. Brave's going to tuck into the corner, but this position should get hard checked. Shoulder spotted and player taken out. Now it's only Skyland on those 5 points of health, and up against Durka, there is nothing left to do. The mixed investment from Vitality works out perfectly and keeps this game within 1.
I think as well, like, Vitality play that perfectly, don't give much away. The fact that Kron is able to get one back just before the site's taken is probably the most important for me, Hazza. Just in the sheer fact it keeps that advantage for Vitality coming back in to the site retake, and the ultimate usage, everything from there on in, is what you expect of a tier 1 team.
Yeah. There's also the strength of the veto, didn't quite see it there, but having multiple TPs, which you can very quickly set on multiple different elevations, look for a fight and quickly reposition. We yet to see the full value from it. I think it is a work in progress for teams, maybe some changes required, but Durka at the very least is going to refract no problems and get out early against an Eternal Fire, which want to quickly take the A site, and will do now that he's fallen.
That's unfortunate. Durka gets caught by a pop flash, and the Hunter's Fury trying to fire off. Doesn't find much. Spike down, but again, Eternal Fire, they still have that null command.
And look at these priorities immediately from them to try and set up towards backside and be ready to receive Vitality on the entry. Looking to crack it open here with a flash, but seems to have blinded up a teammate there just a little bit, leaving only Kron remaining. LeCron James wearing the number 23 on his health bar, unfortunately. And so, it's another slam dunk for Eternal Fire. Double digits now, Cairo. I mean, at what point do you start to think that all of the caster predictions are just going to get trashed?
Yeah, that's true. I think every single caster has said Vitality will be a 3-0 team. That's the moment in time. It doesn't fill you with much hope, but there's still a timeout in the back pocket of Pal if he ever wants to use it, and I think he's very happy to do so here.
Yeah, you can see no stone left unturned from Wee Gregor, of course. So making sure that he's getting his full 60 seconds. Second timeout in the job. And the first one seemed to work, right? Like, Vitality picked up a few rounds before the end of the first half. That was very important to keeping them in it. Just a 2-round gap here, as it was when we came out of halftime. And they've got the ults to work with as well. It's going to be an interesting interaction with the null command on Brave here and what he wants to do.
Yeah,
as I was saying earlier, a new initiator player, but by no means an inexperienced one.
Yeah, he's been holding on to that one for a while now, like at least 3 rounds. So you're expecting it to be used sooner rather than later, especially when you're in position to really hurt Vitality here. The thing about that null command is, realistically, there's no really hard stopping utility that Vitality have in terms of Sentinel, right? You'd be good to hit like a Cypher or whatever, but I think like this ultimate is probably better in post, just because you can delay more and more of that retake utility that Vitality keep going for.
Exactly, and for Vitality, it's those retakes they're probably going to be looking to try and play towards. A lot of the time they've been forced to give up this mid-control, but here it's Izzy immediately removed through Sayonara's op. Durka doubling up, he has one of these as well, and Spear should be a dead man walking. Yampi's finally going to kick him to the dirt, but yeah, there was a moment there perhaps where things looked a bit shaky, but Vitality have full control of this round now.
And you can see that the priority is on mains now rather than actually holding actively through mid, right? They're holding on towards the exits from there, and it's a successful job as Eternal Fire just peek into the crosshairs of the French side. That spike is now in Derka's hands, and this should be... Oh, what a shot! I was going to say this should be a Vitality round, but if Sterben keeps doing stuff like that... Well,
maybe in another universe, but...
another life.
Yeah, I don't think Sterben has hit a shot like that many times in a row before. I would be surprised. But as you say, we actually don't see any ultimates invested into the previous round. The double up setup from Vitality, incredibly strong, especially when you have the Yoru and the Waylay. That's going to be one way to maximize its value, especially on the patch, and the lack of that utility uptime makes it difficult to clear if they can take extremity control, if they're not willing to be fighting for mid control.
Seems as a lineup. Oh, nice utility from the Keo once again. This not looking too bad at all, and with the interceptor being used by Kron, there's a little bit of respect shown by Eternal Fire as they wait for that to go out. Sayonara not able to TP out as he gets caught by the knife, and luckily enough able to keep alive.
Yeah, Cosmic Divide up here, chance to play behind it for Eternal Fire. Like you said, stall in play, but they're looking to get aggressive.
Yeah, and Kron's on the back lines, doesn't take his opportunities. That Cosmic Divide is proven to be an issue, and losing out on Sayonara is a real problem. Hunter's Fury and Cosmic Divide available here for Vitality, and that's exactly what they're going to go for. The former used, but unfortunately not finding. Finally, Cosmic Divide comes in, and that's going to be when the numbers are equalised. Izzy under fire, under pressure, can't survive, and Vitality look to close this out, and a double-digit equalisation. They'll find it.
Yeah, Vitality now on equal terms. Back-to-back rounds coming out of the timeout. The sort of impact that you expect from bringing in a new coach as well, right? Like, look, this is the thing. The project has very much changed. I think people were quite critical of Faded's role in the previous team, but Such a difficult balancing act. This something completely different. And just in terms of what they were willing to fight for again and the retake that they set up, all looking pretty damn good. Eternal Fire on the eco now. They can start to feel this one slipping away from them if they're not too careful.
Get out of my way.
Right here.
Blades being used by Izzy, and we've seen the value what was found at the end of that first half, if you remember correctly. Seems like Vitality want to be proactive here. They've found the camera through a shot, but it's Derka's operator that you need to be careful of. But it's the Sheriff that wins out instead for Spear.
Yeah, Spear had a really nice angle there, just looking to see if he can find Yampy as collateral. Now all eyes on Kron, again walking up B and catching the perfect timing, or nearly perfect, as Sturban is walking away towards A. Full rotation called, but Izzy is still an issue detached from the rest of the team in middle.
Operator holding on. His Prophet looks to find a pocket in which to work, but that neural theft will be a real problem, as everything that Vitality was looking to try and build has been found out about. What a lovely shot from Kron, but can he get more? That would be the round-winning play if he could, and he has. Although the following kills do go Eternal Fire's way, Spear's Sheriff looks unbeatable.
And that's the talent that he can be. Put under the microscope. 3 kills this round from Spear. And now Eternal Fire setting their sights on the A site again. This time it's fully open. And Sayonara has to come back into a 1 versus 2 situation to stop Eternal Fire retaking the lead on their Thrifty round. Is with the op, but he wants the rifle. Has the ult, but does he choose to use it?
Ideally, we'd want an engagement first, right? 2 flashes in his pocket. And able to silent drop. Spear's Sheriff has been beat. Those traps offline, and you can see the flank coming through from Skylin. It will be a Thrifty round, and Vitality, that's the second time that's happened to them.
Yeah, it's another Thrifty, another frustrating round to lose, considering the game state as well. The fact they just called a timeout, just 1-2 on the bounce. Derka onto an angle which is, you know, difficult to peek into as the op player, right? The advantage sits with Spear there as he gets the first spot of the shoulder. This was some really nice shots, and the reason why I highlighted him coming into this match as a new talent in the Turkish scene. 20 and 16, the 18-year-old right now.
But can he continue? Because you can see the finish line. That doesn't mean you're able to run through it just yet, because Vitality have the goods to pull you back. Hiding just behind. Oh, Sayonara lucky to keep his life put on notice on 1 HP, but able to deal with the flank utility as well, Vitality, which could be important later in the round.
Yeah, Kron yet to proc this evolution. Searching here and wandering into the gaze of Izzy. Watching on from a distance with the operator, and having found that kill, all of the B util drops and Vitality feel a gap open up in their defense. Spike far from committed on the 40-second mark, but A looking like the intended target.
There is at least an opportunity to quick rotate for Sayo if he needs to, with that TP deposited so deep in spawn. But that will leave Yampy with a gap to fight all alone, which he looks up to the task. The bullet's not hitting. It's not like Yampy to miss an opportunity like that. And now advantage firmly in Eternal Fire's favour as Derka drops out of heaven dealt with. It looks like map point is on the horizon for the attack.
Yeah, you can see what Derka was trying to do there. Time so low. If there was any way that he could interrupt the plan, he would have a refract back. But Prophet is the next to fall after that missed opportunity. And Sayonara saving on 1 with this operator. Vitality are going to have to force it to overtime in less than favorable conditions. That's if Sayo can even keep this weapon here. Eternal Fire have shown just how good of a team they can be against everybody's favorite in this phase of the competition.
Hunting down, Sayonara is known about and finished out. Flawless round. A disaster debut on Vitality's horizon. It's just whether they can fight back now, because there is no more timeouts, there is no more stoppages, and if you're Eternal Fire, you won't want to use any of your own.
Yeah, just a note there as well. Spear did fall off the map, and because Profek did some damage, as you see in this exchange, he's going to get the ult orb for that as well. So I wonder how much that's going to affect things. Not too much. 2 away from the Cosmic Divide. A handful of ults up here for Vitality, and Kron this time not going to wait to use the evolution.
And he finds himself.
He will, on the other hand, be forced to wait for any kind of an engagement. Eternal Fire playing a very slow default.
They do nothing default. And they wait for Vitality. But that evolution will last all round. Kron can sit happy, wait for everything to be sent his way, and it will be the Eldrone first as he look to identify exactly where the Vito is, but they won't find him hiding in the corner, but do know that the utility is there as well. I don't know if they caught Sayonara's operator, but with the chokehold going, it's up to Chronicle now to try and hold on.
It's a very early use of the interceptor there from Chronicle on first contact. The execution is yet to come in, and of course, knowing that they're playing up against an Astra, the stun, the Gravwell, any of that will not be affected.
30 seconds left.
Neither will Kron playing from this position. And now with support arriving, Vitality are looking good. All hands on deck to stop Eternal Fire taking Abyss.
Yeah, but they don't know about Kron's position because that knife doesn't work. A big surprise as Chronicle stands there and waits. And well, Sayonara, supported by Derka, easily makes this a 1-round. Spike on the floor, but not unless Spear can eliminate everybody. But there's confirmation on the clock. It will be Vitality to bring it within 1.
Yeah, it's audacious from Spear at the end there, and just giving you plenty more reasons as to why he's a future talent. But Vitality get this read correct. Kron and all the rest doing what was required. It comes at the expense of a few ultimate abilities that we saw invested. Evolution, Dimensional Drift, and I'm not quite sure if we saw the Waylay ult in there as well. But yeah, Vitality bringing it within 1. Final opportunity here to push it to overtime. Otherwise, Eternal Fire will bag that bounty, and the flick from Izzy is just a whisker away.
That's the scary thing, Izzy. So mercurial. Hot and cold. If you can punish Izzy, then it will make your day so much easier. Once he gets his confidence going, it feels like he can never stop. That operator looking for the next engagement set up by his team on the line.
Imagine the call on the Vitality side as well is going to be to peek into this Turkish team as much as possible because of the online setting. Sayonara will be denied the opportunity to TP, at least initially, but as soon as the suppression ends, you expect he'll be looking for a quick route out, and he will do so.
Derka's still on the line though, holding on towards that top mid space, so that's the one thing to note. Whereas Sayo holds on towards the other space. Vitality, this is a similar formation that we've seen from them before, one which has worked.
Plenty of space conceded. Izzy peeking in though, always going to have the advantage there. Besting Derka and making it a 4-on-4. Only one of those players is towards B right now, and it's Chronicle for Vitality, looking to try and make an impact in the black and yellow. But he's been dropped, and Yampi's position revealed as well. Vitality's backs to the wall in this retake, and it's not going to get any better. Spear the next. Is he looking for a little bit more? Profek just lingering right on the edge here, and he's not quite found the equalizer, but he's brought it closer, and damage on Skyline is a plus. But Sturban sweeping in behind might just be it. And now Profek has to win the 1 versus 2. or it's Vitality dropping down into the 0-1 bracket. The Cosmic Divide invested, but Spear is here, there, and everywhere. 13-11, Eternal Fire, extinguish Vitality.